Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. This is on a brand new channel, I think. The Monolith channel. It should be uploaded to that. And this is the main question that I'm sure you're thinking coming into this video. What the hell is a monolith? Most people I'm sure will be coming from Doom Towers, and there was recently with the final Fractal Part 2 update a mysterious collaboration, kind of similar to ones in the past, like the Journey collaboration and the 777 collaboration with the Mixer. But this one's strange because there was not much, build up or talk about it, and I was waiting to post this video, and I've been keeping Monolith as just kind of a whole little bit of a secret for a while, with the Discord being quite mysterious and whatnot. But we're going to talk about it today. Let's just get out of the way. What is Monolith? This is my next major project. The first since Doom Towers. I did do music for a bit, just kind of as like a side fun thing. But obviously Doom Towers was the main priority during that, just as my as far as my creative stuff went. But with this, Monolith is the new major project for now, and it is a game, so you'll be able to play it. That's very cool. This is a real game, not a Minecraft server or anything like that. I wanted to make real games for a very long time, and I was always like, oh, I don't want to do that because of the coding. But with the servers, I learned the ability to script, and I just got better at general coding, just basic Python stuff as well over time. So I eventually thought, you know what, let me just try it out with this game engine called Godot or Godot, whatever you want to call it. And it's actually gone quite well so far. And I had a lot of ideas already for what I wanted to make. I put those into execution, and this project is kind of on its feet now. Is going. So I want to talk about it today. It started sometime in June. Oh, I don't know if my mouse clicking will appear in the video. Hopefully not. And I can pop some images up on the screen. This is kind of like half scripted, half not. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna say, so sorry if it's a little bit messy, but yeah. The server was created, the Discord was created on the 24th of June, and the project with its name and the framework of it began on the 25th. There was a secret public announcements channel to document all of the changes, and I want to publish that in the future because I think it's very cool. And I personally love when I play like games and stuff, and I get to have that little bit of insight into how the game was made and like the progress which was made on it. So I'm sure some people will find some interest of it when this does eventually release, but for now it's obviously under wraps since it isn't. But yeah, from the beginning this was gonna be a kind of like a roguelike card game. And it is still a roguelike, but I don't know if I'd exactly define it as a card game. I'll be able to put some gameplay up on screen, and I've got a paint.net open when I want to just sketch out some ideas to kind of show them off, because not everything's done. But we've got quite a bit of footage I can show off here. But let's get right into it. Monolith is a roguelike game where players have to get to the end of a randomly generated map and destroy monoliths along the way. The monoliths, which obviously in the game is names, are fought in combat minigames based on which character and weapon the player has selected at the beginning of the game. So there are three at the moment. You have Mikey, you have Corbin, and you have Terminus. And Mikey's going to be like the default one. He has his shotgun, and that's the only one coded at the moment. But the other two are going to have two different weapons with different mini games. And the mini games, to briefly explain the way you're going to deal damage in a battle. So for Mikey's, for instance, you have a shotgun, you click it, and then there's a bar, and you got to hit it in the red area for more damage. Hopefully I can put a video or something of that up on screen. But yeah, for Terminus and Corbin, there'll be a more... The idea of those two characters are going to be harder mini games, but you're going to be able to do more damage, or do damage in a different way. But yeah, the monoliths, you obviously fight with your weapon, and depending on how well you do at the minigame, you'll do a set value of damage. But each turn, you're consuming an ammo. So ammo is basically like turns in most kind of like similar games to this, or turn-based games, but it carries over across each fight with a monolith. So you start off with 5 with Mikey. If you spend 3 in a battle with a monolith, the next monolith you fight, you're only going to have 2 left. So you do gotta conserve it in a way, and make choices based on how far you think you can make it without getting your next refresh on that. And speaking of refreshes, ammo can be obtained from shops in the free roam area scattered across the map, and are also rewards from defeating monoliths. And to touch on that briefly, the shops and the free roam areas are other parts of the map. So you have your monoliths and your free roam areas, and in those free roam areas you can walk around kind of from this top down perspective, and you can find crates with what we'll get to in a minute, attachments in, and you can also find shops and other structures that will be helpful to you. But anyhow, speaking of attachments, this is like the main thing, the main upgrade in this game, which does have a lot of strategy and complexity to it. They're dropped from defeated monoliths, but they can also be found within the free roam areas of Monolith. And attachments can be utilized in battle with durability to increase damage or grant other miscellaneous effects. And I'll talk about some attachments that I have planned in a minute. But to just briefly elaborate on that, the durability system basically means for attachments you're actually using, every time you use it, it's going to knock one off the durability until it breaks eventually. There are some attachments which are called passive attachments where you don't use them and they passively grant you effect that I'll talk about in a minute. But if we go into paint.net quickly and just pull a few up, I can give a little just a little rundown of what you can expect. There are different rarities of attachments. So we have the most basic ones, which are called stock attachments, and here's your hollow set. Yeah, and these are placeholder textures, so apologies if these don't look the greatest. I have a little white outline just to hide the background there, but the hollow sight simply makes it easier to aim when you're in a combat minigame. And another stock attachment, you have the modified grip, which adds 1 damage to your next attack. You know, pretty basic stuff. But you have more complex ones at higher rarities. For instance, you have yourself a what do I want to pick up? Lucky Bullet, there you go. Lucky Bullet, it would be the second stage up, I guess. So you have, like in most games, you have uncommon, you have rare, you have legendary. In this, you have stock, which is like common ones. You have advanced, which is like those more uncommon, rarish ones. And then you have classified, which are your legendary ones, essentially. And Lucky Bullet would be a advanced attachment. And this simply grants the player a higher chance of finding rare attachments in shopkeeper menus. Like I mentioned, you have your shops in your free roam areas. This would be a passive one, so it wouldn't have any durability to talk about. There's no advanced ones which are gonna, be usable at the moment. They're all passive, but there's gonna be a mix of passive attachments, and there'll be a mix of also just normal, like usable attachments with durability. At the end of the first half of the map, so like I mentioned, there's a map you got to climb up it. There's gonna be 2 halves to it, but I'm not going to talk about the second half for now, since A, it's very, it's not really even been developed yet, and B, I want to leave that until the full game releases because that's when stuff gets really crazy. But basically, the first half of the map is just time for you to get yourself equipped. And at the end, there's like a big test essentially, which is in the form of the mini boss Monolith, which is a monolith with increased health and special abilities that outright counter you. Because most monoliths are just going to be like sinks for your ammo, and you're going to have to conserve ammo and attachment durability, and that's the challenge of those. But the mini boss ones, on top of conserving ammo and conserving attachments, you're also going to have to be careful of what attacks and what counters are going to throw back at you, whether that be in the form of just increased health or outright like damage being reflected and whatnot. But yeah, once you defeat that mini boss monolith, the latter half of the map will be revealed, which I'm not going to talk about much in this video. But anyways, additional content. On top of the already explained mechanics, there'll also be a lot more depth in the game. At the moment, I have a few ideas planned, but to talk about 2 that are kind of further along in development, you have NPCs that can be found on the map, and contracts, which contracts are coded. I can pop a little bit of an image up on screen or a video or something, but contracts can be found in bunkers scattered across the free roam areas, and they give the player a permanent buff and debuff that can be accepted or denied, allowing for you to customize your own strategy. For instance, you could get a contract that says something along the lines of +1 base damage for every monolith destroyed, but minus 10% HP for every attachment broken. So that would basically mean every time you destroy a monolith, next time you fight one, you're going to have 1 extra base damage that can be multiplied or added onto based on your attachments and what weapon you're running. And every time you break an attachment, you're going to lose 10% of your HP. And just to talk about HP, because I didn't really go into too much depth on that. You obviously lose immediately if you run out of ammo, but with HP, you'll be able to lose that based on what effects the mini-boss monoliths have. So they could, for instance, have an attack that does 10% of your HP in the form of damage, or you lose it passively in free roam areas, just because the area is toxic and whatnot. So you have your own HP, and then you have kind of like a hidden HP, which is in the form of your ammo. It's kind of weird, but hopefully you're understanding what I mean. But anyways, replayability. If the player completes a round of Monolith, they will receive a currency that will be able to be used to purchase new unlockable characters, skins, and so on. Obviously none of this is in develop or has been developed at the moment, but I did mention three characters, and now Mikey would be the starter one. Let's say Corbin, the second character. Let's say you would need to play the game and beat it twice before you'd be able to unlock him, which then unlocking him would add a lot more kind of diversity to what you're going to be doing in the game. So that's my idea for replayability in terms of that. And just for a heads up, on top of the base three characters, I plan for more in the future with different mini games and weapons attached to each. Concluding this off, the game at the end of the day is just a little bit of a test, and this is literally the first time I've ever messed around with a proper game engine. I do think it's going very well so far, but it's not going to be the most polished thing ever. Don't expect that. And all I can say is going to have similar gameplay principles and writing to my past projects, such as Doom Towers. So if you're curious in that, or you like Doom Towers, you'll be able to check the game out. Hopefully I can release some sort of beta or some sort of early version in August. I was planning for July, but things take longer, and I had to I got busy with things. But it's going to be totally free. At no point, I have no kind of plans for charging anything for the game. You'll be able to download it as an exe as soon as it's available, but I am considering having ports for it, such as just a browser port, like you can play it in your browser, or mobile ports even, like download it as an APK or some stuff. You can do that with Godot, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah, might come out in August, it might not. Hopefully I can get something out there, and even then I'm going to be posting kind of teasers and other things now that the actual project's been announced. If you're curious and you're not coming from the Monolith Discord or the Doom Towers Discord, the Discord link will be in the description. Anyways, that's basically it for now. Hopefully the video's been kind of informational.